5 minutes early, and that's purposeful. Welcome to Mornings with Marvel, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. I'm early. I'm 5 minutes early, and you'll find out why. Let me go ahead and quickly read my morning motivation before I launch into a conversation that's probably going to last over an hour. In the beginning of 2021, I was told of an opportunity that would open up for me. As excited as I was about it, my spirit cautioned me to not put a time constraint on this thing happening, and I was to continue being my best wherever I was. In other words, I bloomed where I was planted. As the year went on, I chose to learn, chose empathy, and chose to find solutions with kindness wherever possible because I sought to grow beyond who I was as a human being. Needless to say, some things materialized while others are still a work in progress. I learned and grew from all of it. I often choose silence instead of tearing people apart who may have wronged me. I choose to ask myself, what part did I play in any scenario I found myself in, good or bad? I choose to seek authentic relationships with a few people that spoke to my energy. I'm learning to flow with instead of forcing things to happen. I'm finding peace in the stillness. In the last year, I have been pretty quiet, not showing up at a lot of events. There's a reason for all of that. I have been quietly having conversations with folks about what I see upon us and really trying to create spaces so that we could hear people's experiences and that it's not just about us, but what's happening to folks. So I'm going to start the show today by reading an article to you. All right. And it's a pretty long article, so I'm going to read parts of it, not all of it. And this guest will be on the air with me at 6:30 this morning. So let me get in here and get started. Denisha, it's either Denisha or Denisha Hansberry, learned at a young age to run away from danger. This was written by Samantha Melamed, published February 27th, 2025, but it is incredibly important to the conversation we're having this morning. Denisha Hansberry learned at a young age to run away from danger. Removed from home at age 10 and placed in kinship care, she ran from an abuser. Sent to group homes, she ran from conflict. Placed in foster care, she ran from petty torment. The foster mother, who, as she remembers it, punished her for complaining about a pizza dinner being placed by placing her on an all-soup diet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But when she was on the run, danger would find her. At her own age, on her own at age 14, she was hungry, cold, and broke. The one thing all around her was drugs and neighborhood dealers she had known her whole life. I knew what a crack pipe was at 8 years old, she said. One of the dealers agreed to let her sell. That's how Hansberry was arrested and ended up in juvenile detention, creating an entanglement across systems that would follow her into young adulthood and her own parenthood and force her to face the most heart-wrenching decision a mother can make. Hansberry's path into juvenile detention is a startlingly common one for young people in the care of the Philadelphia Department of Human Services. Teens with active DHS cases are about 11 times more likely than other Philadelphia teens to land in the city's juvenile hall, an Inquirer analysis of City and Defender Association of Philadelphia data found. According to the data provided by the Defenders Association, children who have been through the child welfare system account for at least 1/4 of children in the Philadelphia's juvenile justice system and at least a third of those in detention. Once placed in institutions, young people who are involved in multiple systems stay there for about 14 months on average, 3 times longer than those with only delinquency cases, city data show now. Chief Defender Keisha Hudson Brooks has been in front of City Council having this conversation about what's happening with the young people in the system. She's been vociferous about all of this. Taken together, these data points suggest a DHS to prison pipeline, or what some advocates for children call a womb to prison pipeline, in which young people with child welfare histories are overrepresented at every stage of the juvenile and criminal legal system. For someone like Hansberry, whose DHS case began when she was 10 and dragged on for 7 years, the odds she would be arrested were a little better than a coin flip. A recent analysis by the Defender Association found the correlation is most profound among children who are pulled into the child welfare system at age 14 and older, and among younger children who remain in the system for many years. And then there's all this data, right, that's attached to it. Go see the article, the Philadelphia Inquirer. The title of the article is, let me give it to you properly, From the Womb to the Prison Pipeline, right? And it's a part of a series that were written. This is just what my producer sent me so that I have some idea of what's going on. Womb to Prison Pipeline. So here we go. And I see people are ready to get in here for me to talk to them. Jesus be offense. Associate Deputy Mayor Jessica Shapiro cautioned against viewing the correlation as a casual association. Child welfare and juvenile justice issues, she said, manifest themselves simultaneously. Youth who have unstable home lives or who are already may be involved in the child welfare system are at greater risk for delinquency and truancy. High levels of juvenile detention among DHS-involved teens can be attributed to poor choices made by young people who have few resources, extensive histories of abuse and neglect, and often untreated mental health needs. Researchers studying detained minors have found 15 to 30% of boys and 25 to 50% of girls meet the criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder. But advocates of the correlation is also a result of repeated system failures and biases, not to mention the extra layers of surveillance to which children in the system are subjected. There is a reason why I read a small snippet of that article to you. I would have left it alone because, the first time I had access to the juvenile system, the Department of Human Services, was truly through this first guest, April McGlone, and Bridget Powell. 2018 reached out to me, both of them. April, I can't see you on camera. Couldn't get. They were trying to get people to listen to them about what was happening to them in their cases. Nobody would touch it. No one. And so when they reached out to me, I said, let me look at all the data that you have. And they showed up in the studio with piles and piles of data, like all the things that had been going on. And so I said, let's talk. We began the conversation and it blew my mind. And I kept saying, all right, we got to figure out a way around this. I recognize that the Department of Human Services is one that is a government agency. They may or may not want to talk to me or anyone else, but I've asked my producer to reach out to them because I never do one thing without doing the other. What precipitated this conversation today, though, was on Saturday, I'm driving to see my grandchildren, and I got a call that blew my mind. A friend of mine who had taken on a young baby and in the KUA found herself in a series of incidences where the KUA workers were so nasty. Apparently, they did not make a proper decision about something, and to cover themselves, they put the blame on her and came to her house and took her baby. And so after I listened to that story, and believe me, there's a lot going on behind the scenes around that right now. And there's a whole lot of phone calls that had to be made. But you see, not everybody has access to the calls. Not everybody has access to, let me call this one or that one because I know that one and I know that one. Families really don't have what they need to get them through to the places where they should be. Denisha, is it Denisha or Denisha?
Good morning, it's Denasia.
Denisha, thank you, my darling. So today we're going to go back into this. I just read a snippet of the article that the Inquirer wrote on February 2025, which included you in it and the data. So I want to thank you this morning for even being a part of all of this. I am expecting, I think, one or two more people in this conversation, but let me go ahead and get started. Oh my God. Now, Bridget and April, you both know me well enough to know when it comes to young people, it's a game I'm not playing, right? I don't ascribe to, oh my God, you can't say this because this one's feelings are gonna be hurt, et cetera, et cetera. We're watching young people walking around now with vacancy in their eyes because so many adults, we keep talking about a system, but there are adults in the system that continues to fail these young people. So pray for me as I do this. April, are you there?
Good morning. Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Okay. I got chills running through my body because I can almost feel. Do you know where the other two guests are?
I know Yolanda Bryan is attempting to log on. She should be on in a minute. I'm not sure what Dr.
And I am looking for Dr. Harris.
Hold on once. I'll go reach out to Dr. Harris.
Thank you. And if she needs to have the link resent to her, one of you resend it, please. Dr. Tamara Harris is the Vice President of Clinical Project Management and an advocate within the child welfare system, a mother and wife and mom of two. Dr. Harris turned a painful 10-year adoption journey into purpose. Her family's adoption journey should have been a smooth transition with her cousin, the birth mother and father, voluntarily voluntarily terminated their rights for her to adopt their child from birth, but it became an uphill battle against DHS and CUA administrative errors, fabricated orders, and system overreach that deeply affected her family. April McBride McGlone is a devoted mother and wife of four, wife and mother of four, a government contractor, commissioned notary public for the state of Pennsylvania, a family-aligned mentor with Philly Voice for Change, and a true community activist against all injustices of humanity, especially with DHS and family court unlawful removal of children. Bridget Powell has been a school nurse for 29 years and Girl Scout leader for 25. She became an advocate for family placement after experiencing Philadelphia DHS refusal to place her niece with her brothers despite state law. Denasia Hansberry was in the foster care system since she was 8 years old and still fighting to this day. She is 22 years old and has a 6-year-old son, Ashlyn. Denasia also has a 2-year-old daughter that she lost to the system. Yolanda, I see you. Yolanda Bryant is the CEO of nonprofit organization Families Are Important to Heal Faith advocacy movement, which helps reconnect families that were separated in the DHS system. I don't see India Keys. So there's a whole lot of you. I just want you to know the show is probably going to be longer than an hour, and I appreciate each and every one of you for being here this morning for what is a most needed conversation. I can never do this without crying. Whew.
India Keys is with me. I'm not going to put her on camera because of her age.
Okay, that's your daughter.
Yes.
I can never do this show without being in tears because of my deep connection to young people and what it means to really do well by them. So I'm going to start with the young people first. April, put your daughter on for me, please. How old is she?
Okay. India, she is 15.
Okay. All right. India, good morning, my darling. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. I
Good,
can hardly hear you, sweetie pie.
good morning.
Good morning. I want you to know that you are safe in this conversation, right? Whatever you decide to choose to share with us, your mother is right beside you. I am going to make sure that you're okay. And so we can have the conversation that is absolutely needed. Can you share with us your story, please?
Um, wait, which one? Okay, so in 2018, they had took me from school. Um, and claimed my mom, like, as a child abuser, tried to say she abused me. And then, at the end of 2023, they ended up taking me again, and from my dad, and they just like kept moving me, like whenever they wanted to, every 2 weeks, put me in like homes I told them I didn't do well in. Um, then they got me placed with somebody. She pulled my hair out, was mentally and emotionally abusing me, physically too. Um, she took my clothes, and they kept like sending me to a school that I told them was like very far for me to travel to through actual like SEPTA transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually let me get jumped too.
Okay.
And,
So in 2018, you were what? How old was she in
I
2018?
was 8.
You were 8.
I was
You were
8.
8. You were 8 in 2018. When they said, what was she? Were you living with your mother, April, at that time?
Yes.
And the claims that you were being abused, in your own words, were you being abused?
No.
Okay. So as a child being taken from school, did anyone tell you what was going on? They just pulled you from school?
They okay. So I was in school. My anger management teacher that I had, she said she was gonna call some of her friends. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting in her room just listening to music. They come in. I'm not knowing that today just because I'm 8. So they look at me or whatever, say they're gonna take me. My dad came pick me up. They told my dad he couldn't get me and waited till he left to actually leave the school with me.
Okay. And then how you were in foster care, or did they eventually give you to your father?
They ended up taking me to the hospital to get me checked out. Um, and then they kept me at the DHS building.
Okay. When did you given when were you given to your father?
Um, I'll say after court.
After court.
About like
I'm
November
gonna ask your
5th.
mother to jump in here. April,
Yes.
uh give me your version of this. And let me say this, because I'm seeing a lot of young children now, babies, who are just fighting, and something is happening with our children, right?
Yes.
Beyond the parents' control, because I'm seeing it over and over again. Many of these young people are diagnosed with autism, somewhere on the spectrum, the autism wheel. Many folks don't, instead of trying to work with the young people, you heard your baby say, at anger management class, right?
Yes.
Versus trying to figure out what was going on. And the blame is ultimately placed on the parents. What I'm seeing now, though, is a lot of parents from all spectrums, from all walks of life, white, Indian, Chinese, black, the whole wheel, that are finding themselves faced with children that are born and they can't seem to find control over them. What is your story? Why was your baby taken at 8 years old?
So India, apparently, I found out after the fact.
I can't hear you, April.
She had a few. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hmm.
She had a few months of behavioral issues within the school that I didn't know about, because at the time I was I was on my probation at work, where I had to work a year inside of the VA hospital, because I was working for the government at the time before I became a contractor.
Hmm.
So therefore I wasn't hands on like I'm usually am. So I didn't know of these issues, behavior issues, because her father would pick her up, and we don't wasn't living in the same household. So I wouldn't know the information and details of what was going on. But India was getting bullied, um, and I didn't know that until after the fact, after all this went down, because I never had a problem with her, behavior too much. So what happened, she became what they call a problem child throughout the school. So they basically labeled her. Um, so she admits that, she was acting out, she was doing some things. So her art teacher wound up calling me one day and telling me she wanted to talk to me for a while now because of the ill behavior.
Hmm.
So long story short, India was leaving out of the classroom, not being such a model student,
Hmm.
and doing some things that was dangerous to her well-being, as far as roaming the school, roaming the halls, and she was leaving a classroom that actually was in the basement of the school. So when she got home that evening, her father disciplined her, but I didn't know that, because like I said, we don't live in the same house, but he would drop her off to my other two minor boys that was at the house with us. And so that morning, when I came back home from work, she was already asleep. So that morning before I left out to work, I did give her, a small little discipline, as we do, let the
Hmm.
kids know this is not acceptable. This is not what you do.
Hmm.
So that morning when India went to school, I guess she had, informed that she had got disciplined. So I guess they considered it, she got disciplined. That means she's abused. But the thing is, the school is the one that called, let you know, okay, your child is doing this, this is not effective. What are you going to do as a parent?
Hmm.
So going forward, like she said, they called DHS. DHS came. The supervisor of the caseworker in DHS calls me on my phone, and I'm at work at the time, still in training. So he calls me, not pleasantly at all. Immediately asks for me. I answer. He hollers in my ear and asks me, "Do I abuse my other two children like I abuse India?" And I asked him. I said, "Sir, what are you talking about? Who are you?" And he hollered at me again. So my thing is always, you're not going to holler at me. I'm a grown woman. And who are you? So I hung up on him because people could hear his voice, come through the phone. So after I hung up on him, I went in the hallway corridor where it was, where I was isolated, and called the number back. And he told me that he's a DHS supervisor and they'll be taking India into custody because I'm a child abuser. And I said, and I was still baffled, like, "Excuse me, what?" And he said, "Yeah, we're taking India because you're a child abuser." I said, so with me working in the medical field for so many years, and I also worked at Children's Hospital in emergency department as emergency department medical coder, I knew the protocol for when children are coming in as abused or suspected abuse. They go through a survey scan to see, if they were abused or what's going on. So I told him, I said, "You know what? All right." I said, "Well, take her to CHOP and go ahead and get her a skeletal survey scan to see if she's ever been abused." And they said, "I will," and hung up. I contacted her father immediately because he was supposed to pick her up from school. He said they just up and left with her and told me I couldn't get her. I said, "Who are these people? Did they give you any paperwork, anything?" He said, "No." He said that they said they'll be in touch.
So they took your child. Okay.
Yes.
And how did you end up having your child today at the age of 15? What were some of the things that you had gone through? Um, Tracy says, McCall Gordon says, if April wants to share, how did she discipline India on that day that made them think she was being abused?
I gave India a few taps on her arm, a few
Mhm,
taps on her leg, and I left
mhm,
out for work immediately. Just
mhm,
told her to apologize to the teacher, and
mhm,
she cannot leave the classroom and roam the hallways. She is putting her life in danger. She could
mhm,
get kidnapped, and or something bad can happen to her.
mhm, mhm. Okay. All right. So you now have India back with you.
Yes.
Because I have all these other guests on the air, I just want to make sure that I can get them in and have conversations with them.
Okay.
What was the protocol that landed you to where you are, where you got your child back? What happened with India, with you, with her father, all of that?
So what happened? They basically suspected both of us of child abuse, um, which now mind you, both of us, disciplined her. I didn't know he disciplined her, but he didn't abuse her. Neither one of us abused her. Um, and so once I found out what was going on, and I told him I knew state law that you can discipline your child for protection, correction, and reproof. And that's exactly what I did, following the Pennsylvania state law.
Mhm,
So that when they realized that I'm, a little bit smarter than the average bear, they
mhm.
revved up retaliation on me and told me, oh, that they was going straight for child abuse. And I had a man that nobody knew his name coming inside of my house beating India, which was straight perjury. Like, so because I knew my rights.
Do you know why I tend to believe what you're saying to me? It just happened to my friend.
Yeah.
She was accused of living with this person that they told her she was like, "What are you
Yep.
talking about?" And so they perjured themselves
Hmm.
to come and take her baby.
Yep.
And it took a whole bunch of us. It took a whole bunch of us. She got her baby back. But it took a whole bunch of us to start making phone calls, et cetera, et cetera. Where is the recourse when stories are told to judges and to other people about family members where there's no proof of it? Where's the recourse?
Right. So I myself, because they give you a court appointed attorney, but of course we know the court or the attorneys work for them. So I myself was able to, retain my own private counsel. And then that pissed them off even more. So therefore, it revved up even more on me. So what they told my counsel, once they found out I had counsel, they said, oh, she's a habitual abuser. But y'all didn't remove the other minors that were in my house, not one time, if that was the case. So when my attorney said, wait, this is my first time hearing that she's a habitual abuser. Is this about this case, or are you saying she's a habitual abuser? They said I was a habitual abuser. So long story short, when we got into court, I had 10 mandated reporters with me, and my 16-year-old son that was there that witnessed me giving India a light spanking to testify on my behalf that no, this is what happened. They put everybody out of the court and everybody was subpoenaed. Then they said, oh, this is an isolated incident. So they already had it set up to put everything on me. So they basically said, because I was the primary care provider, that I was going to get put on they put me on the child abuse registry before court, but they said it was founded because I'm a primary care provider. And that was just their,
So they
statement.
put you on the child abuse registry, which would then impact your livelihood. And
Yes.
wherever you put in for a job, for a contract, etc., that would pop up. Did they remove that?
No, I'm still fighting that now until this day. It's in the works. I have a few attorneys that are on top of it, but I'm fighting that now until this day. Even with them giving me sole full physical legal custody back of India.
What you're describing to me is a system that is punitive. That's what you're describing to me. What has the impact been on India from, being taken from you, going through foster care, to her father, being taken from her father? She's now 15. What has the impact been on her?
She had 2 stays in Belmont. She was subjected to solicit drugs. She was subjected to sexual behavior that we would say, that is common these days, but some people accept it, some people don't. She was subjected, like I said, to alcoholism, just a lot of abuse. She even was came back to me malnourished because one of the homes that they put her in, they was only feeding the children TV dinners for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I have all of that documented because I took her directly to the doctors and got a full checkout when I was able to get her back having full custody. She suffered from anxiety from it. She has PTSD from being removed so many times. She attempted to run away a couple times to run away home, and DHS moved her about an hour away because it would mess their case up. Who runs back home to an abuser? So we've been working with her with therapists at school, support systems beyond that, family support. And she's making strides, but every day she talks about it because she's in her head. She still asks the question, why was I the only one taken? I didn't do nothing. My mom didn't do anything, and I was removed from my house, my family that I know, my brothers. Nobody got removed but her.
All right. Thank you, April, for sharing this with me. I appreciate it beyond measure. Now I understand why you're so vociferous online about what happens to families. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being honest. Denasia, good morning, my sister. Denasia?
Yes, sorry, I'm here.
Oh,
Good morning.
good morning. You're now 22. You've been in the system since you were 8, 10. How old were you when you were put in the system?
Actually, DHS been in my life since I was about 7 to 8 years old, but I actually got taken away when I was 10.
When you were 10.
Yeah.
What's happening with you now that made you want to come here on this broadcast to have a conversation with us? What is the lesson and the story you want us to know about you that's a cautionary tale for anyone else?
Okay, so to start it, I got pregnant and I have a son. He's 6 years old, but I got pregnant after that, okay? And when I had got pregnant after that, I've been looking for help.
Mhm.
DHS was basically like, you're out the system because I was like 19 at the time. So they're like, you're out the system. We can't help you no more because I didn't do that program where it's 18 to 21. Of course, I don't want to do that. Y'all been in my life since I was 8 years old.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
want to do that. I don't want y'all in my life no more. So I had something going on with a criminal thing that didn't have nothing to do with me. I proved that I was innocent and everything, but DHS and KUA at the same time. The day before I went to court, 9 p.m. at night, they sent the email doing the OPC,
Mhm.
basically emergency removal of my child. And when I got out of jail and I went to court, mind you, I was found innocent. I didn't do the crimes that they told me to do, that they said that I did. And they still said, "Oh, we're still gonna take her just to make sure you okay. I mean, just to make sure she's okay and you're okay." Okay, fine, dandy. But me knowing my experience from when I was a kid, I know DHS is not doing that. So, in the midst of me, no, I didn't graduate high school. No, I didn't do nothing further. I am now. Let's keep that in note. I did now, but no, I didn't at the time. No, I was only 19 though. I was only 19. So um they took her away and then it was like you have to do I had to do drug tests 4 times a week. I had to do parenting classes 3 times a week and go to school and work on top of that. And I went to them and all I did was ask them to help me. I feel
And
like I feel like they made it hard for me to even try to get her back. Because how are you telling me to do 5 different things 20 times a week? If you understand what I'm saying, five like all week. I couldn't do that and work and go to school and go to parenting and visit my daughter and do that. I couldn't do that all at once. So they kept pressuring me to give up my rights. And eventually, honestly, I did. And
I'm not gonna make it. The tears are here. I'm just so if I'm
oh
hearing
wait,
you,
if I
go
sorry, I
ahead.
didn't mean to cut you off. If
Go
I
ahead,
can
sweetie.
go back, I had my daughter in the toilet in JJSC where I was held for a criminal case that I was found innocent on, and they took her straight from jail. I didn't even get released from jail yet before they took her from me because they felt like I was unfit because I was in jail. But I didn't even do the crime. Even when I got found innocent the same day they took my baby.
Denasia, first of
Yes.
all, I want to say thank you for being brave enough and vulnerable enough to come here and have this conversation with us. But I'd like to use your story as a cautionary one for many people out here that are pointing fingers at young children. You don't know what's going on with them. You don't know that they could possibly be in the system. You don't know what's happening in their homes. And for families, for the love of God, when you see something's going on with children, she ended up in the system 7 to 8. The path that she has been on is really one that happens when someone has no stability at all. None. And at 22, she's trying to figure out what to do with her life. How do we navigate this? Plus, you hear Bridget, was it April? April McGlone saying, um, Bridget said that whew, saying that the system counts on families to not know the law. And so when a young child is being taken in 8 and 9 and has gone through all these different systems. You heard me reading this at the very beginning of the show. I started 5 minutes early so I could read the article that the Inquirer wrote on February 27th, 2025. It was Denasia that they were talking about and the data. And the Defenders Association, Keisha Hudson Brook, has been fighting tooth and nail to figure out something to help these young people. Because to Denasia's point, you want to go to do something 5 days a week and then do something 4 days a week, then do another thing 3 days a week, and then she has to work and take care of our children. How do you find your way in something like that and figure it out without being completely dismantled in your whole life? And how do you recover from that? How do you recover from that? uh Tracy says, Alexandra, I totally agree with you. Even for me, when I was working it's difficult to make sense of a broken system. Now, I've met and spoken to a few co-workers who have quit. They would see me on the street, or they would figure out a way to reach me and would start to tell me the horrors. So what I'm hearing should not be new to many of you. But if you've never been in the system on any level, then you think this is all like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to these people. I need to get Dr. Harris in here before I lose my mind. Now, please keep in mind that we're going to be on here for a while. So don't think I'm going to ignore your story, right? I can never do, this is my 5th time doing this show around DHS, COA, and the families that are impacted in the system. And I can never do it without dissolving into tears, because I am a mother of children. I am a grandmother. And when children get the love and the care that they deserve, this could be anybody. A city council member ended up in the system. His child was taken away from him. David O. He went to karate, broke something, and they took him out. And if he wasn't a sitting city council member, he would have been impacted in a way that probably would never recover from. How do we do this? Dennis says, where is her child today? And how can we help her with a job, child care, and stability? So, Denasia, there are people on here who are willing to try and help you, which is why I'm so grateful for the solution-oriented folks that listen to the show every day. When we get off the air, let's figure out a way to connect folks who are able to help. And hear me, if you screw with this, you will not see me coming, right? We're still talking about children here, young people, and she needs to be helped. Dr. Harris, I read your bio. I know you were trying to adopt a child that was the parental rights were given to you immediately. How did you go from that to fighting in the system?
So, to Denasia's point, I hope y'all can hear me. I've been on all sides of the system. I've been a child who needed support, and my grandmother had to step up and take care of me. I've been on the side where I had to take custody of my sister's 3 children temporarily and help with their stability while she recovered. And then I've been on the side where a family member asked me to adopt a child from birth, and I had the child since birth. And unbeknownst to me, we found out later, just in 2025, that DHS actually took legal custody of the child when the child was placed with me since birth. They also not let
You're breaking up, Dr. Harris. You're breaking up. Your connection is unstable. You're breaking up. Is there another place you can go that would be a little bit more stable for you? You do? Okay. Do that for me, and then we can go back. Um,
While she does this, can I just piggyback on what she said? Yes, they took my baby from the hospital. I haven't held her, seen her since the hospital, and I've been fighting for her. And also, my older sister is fighting for my little sister with my dad, and my dad is abusive, and my dad is always in something. He don't have anything stable or anything going on with him for my little sister to even be with him, and they still allowing him to come back to court. Him and my older sister been fighting for at least my sister when they start. My little sister was 8 when they started, and she's 13, going on 14 in February.
Nasia, thank you so much for giving us more. It just feels to me that it's more trauma on top of more trauma when we know family members are unstable before they
Yeah.
end up in the Department of Human Services? Are there anyone? And for the people who have stepped up, like Bridget, Bridget, jump in here for me, please, and then Yolanda, I'm coming to you. Bridget, you stepped up for a family member, correct?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And instead of getting, did you get the family member?
I got her brother, but I did not get my niece, which is the sister.
And so, what is your journey with the Department of Human Services? And let me just say this, because I've heard talk to people within the department that says it is a broken system. We have had the woman that heads it now is someone I'd like to talk to, because there's so much going on there. You heard me, I don't know if you heard me interviewing somebody who was in the highest levels of Philadelphia government, who said that DHS emails were being ignored, and I just dissolved into tears, right? Like, who helps the children? Who helps the families that are caught up in this mammoth system? We understand not everybody in the system is terrible, but there's enough going on there that creates a nightmarish scenario for way too many families. So how do we tackle this like we tackle homelessness? How?
Andrea, I'm going to be honest. Those at the top, they're aware of what's happening, and they're part of the problem. Kimberly Ali's part of the problem. She basically said to me, and I still remember it, back in 2018, I'm not going to give you your niece because you put your nephew out. And basically, I had to go through paperwork to figure out what she was talking about. And despite me proving I didn't do it, they didn't correct it. Vanessa Garrett Harley, who I heard when you were interviewing Brandy about erasing emails about kids being child abused. Basically, when we sat in a meeting, she was like, "Oh no, fathers have rights and all this," but they don't. Like they really eat these fathers up alive when they come and stand up. So the system has to be dismantled. And it's different if someone it was just a supervisor, but it's the commissioner.
Uh, Jenny, I saw your she says, my name is Genesis and I am going through this right now. From Child Protective Services took my children based on a false report that their father told them, and now their father has my children and I'm facing criminal charges. This is this happened to another friend of mine very recently, lost all her children. The father said that she was abusing the children. They were going through a divorce and he got mad and put out this report that she, and so that what it has done is not only disrupted her life, it destroyed her, right? So she got her children back, but she still had to go to court to prove. We have to also be careful not to use the system as a passive aggressive way to get back at people that we no longer like or care about. It's important. So, Bridget, you and April and Yolanda have been incredibly vociferous in having conversations. What do you think are some of the solutions to get us to a better place as it applies to DHS or Child Protective Services?
Basically, they need to follow state law, which we find they're not, because state law says these children, if they have siblings, they shouldn't be separating them if they don't have to. Um, Family should be considered first. And in my case, they said family friend was equal to blood relative. So, I mean, some basic things of them just following state law would help. And like to pull out things like from 20 and 30 years ago on grandparents, that's crazy. Like people who go to jail get their records expunged, but a mother who 30 years ago did something you didn't even take her child for, now you're going to hold it against her so she can't get her grandchild?
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
You know, like these coups are just like, they're horrible.
And the COAs were formed as a direct result of children dying in the system. Remember that? Right?
Exactly.
And they were
Exactly.
supposed to be smaller organizations that would be able to help more children and manage the children in a better way. Many of those COAs have since shut down because they say that they cannot afford the insurance costs. Right?
Because of the lawsuits,
Because of the
of all the
lawsuit.
lawsuits from what they've done, the deaths and the injuries. A foster kid killed his foster mom. Remember that up in Germantown? And he was a suspect in killing another foster child. But instead of them putting him somewhere where he should have been, you put him in another foster home and he kills the foster mom, a
Yeah,
64-year-old lady.
yeah, yeah. April, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh God, thank you, Bridget. April, what? Give me one solution that you see that would help these families.
First and foremost, accountability. One thing that would help these families would be holding these social caseworkers accountable for the perjury and the things that they do, falsifying paperwork. If they were held accountable and was facing
Mm-hmm.
criminal punishment, I think they
Mm-hmm.
would stop. But because they've gotten away with it for so long,
Mm-hmm.
that they
Mm-hmm.
it's just almost like this is the thing to do. I'm thinking that they might even be trained on this type of practice. But we need to encourage our DA Larry Krasner to convict these people of perjury, because they're ruining families and they're allowing for it to be done.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a big systematic RICO.
Yeah.
So we really need to push for Larry Krasner to convict these social workers for their wrongdoings. He's like they
Mm-hmm.
say, nobody's above the law. So
Mm-hmm.
they're in here swearing in family court and doing saying blatant lies and putting blatant lies on paper reports that's going to follow these families, follow these children for life. So
Yeah.
I feel that once they start getting convicted, that they going to FAFO, like he says.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you want the core workers, the social workers, held accountable for falsifying reports. This happened to my friend this past weekend. Her report was falsified that she did this, did that, and thank God, right? But okay, that's one solution. Graceful says, I don't understand why elected officials avoid confronting the child welfare system. We need leaders who aren't afraid to challenge the systems that we were elected to oversee. Oh, oh my God. Denisha, what do you want to say, darling? You said you want to piggyback again. Go ahead.
Yes, I also agree with her saying that Larry Krasner should also prosecute these social workers, because I've been in foster care where I was abused and I reported to my social worker. I won't say her name for confidential reasons, but she ignored me for 4 foster homes. I've been in and out of foster homes. I kept running away. I went to school every time. I went to school every time I ran away because I loved school, and that was the only place I can escape.
So you ran
But
away and went to school.
yes, and they found me at school. So then what happens after that? I stopped going to school because y'all keep finding me at school. And but also I was reporting y'all. I was telling to you that I wasn't comfortable at this foster home because what she was doing to me, well, how she was treating me, stuff like that. And y'all didn't, she didn't care at the time. She didn't care. She never reported. Then I asked for a supervisor. The
Mm-hmm.
supervisor didn't do anything either. Then I asked for the director. Director didn't do anything either. Why? Because I'm a 15, 16-year-old trying to report y'all. I'm sorry.
It's okay, my
But
darling. It's okay. Thank you for continuing to share this. Um, Someone wrote, we need Nina Ahmad. Bridget wrote, we need Nina Ahmad as chair of DHS to do more and faster. Bridget says, sad that the children say DHS destroyed their life. I could not believe it until it affected my family. Right? We sit and we hear these stories and we think it can't possibly be. It can't possibly be. But you're only one accident away from your children being, your children being taken away from you. We just don't know. We just don't know. Someone says we need an oversight board jury for removals moves to place children with non-biological relatives after exhausting efforts and parental rights are terminated. Essence says elected officials need to stop talk about crazy stuff like taxes and talk about this type of trauma, because these are the children that are growing up in the system, and you wonder why they're being caught just in when you are desperate. When you are desperate, the things that you find yourself doing can sometimes feel unimaginable. And I keep telling you all, never, ever say never, never, because you just don't know. Shakira says, Andrea, can we talk about the mental health system for these children? The crisis system is just as bad. They act like families aren't asking for help, but we ask and we aren't helped. That's a whole nother show, Shakira, and we're going to do this, right? Tracy says, honestly, everyone, not all KUA workers are social workers, and that may be part of the issues. Well, as someone who worked in KUA, thank you for sharing that with us. We did not know that. We didn't. I didn't know it. I don't know how many people did not know it. I knew the show was going to be something else. I'm coming to you, Yolanda. Hold on, and thank you for being patient. The sister Jenny says, my daughter has run away from her father's home 5 times. And she's failing school while with her father. She is 13 and the oldest. She has become violent against the 10-year-old and the younger child. Oh my God, this is great. Every time I go down this rabbit hole, I keep asking myself, what can we do differently? Why do we keep having this conversation and nothing's changed? How many children have to die? Yeah, before we get anywhere. Tracy says social workers are held to the NSAW Code of Ethics. But if you're not a social worker working in KUA, what does that mean, Tracy? Does that mean what I think you're saying to me? Right? And Essence says, isn't the DHS deputy appointed by the mayor? Something. And because it's children, because it is children, and every day we can see, I'm sitting in rooms where many of you have no idea I'm in, and I'm listening to children say they're cutting themselves, they're afraid, they are in homes that are untenable, but they won't call DHS because they see what's getting ready to happen. They see that it's worse, so they suffer at home, and they suffer out of what the hell. Yolanda, jump in here for me, please, and tell us a little bit about what's going on your end, and then I'll try Dr. Harris again.
Well, I'm Yolanda Bryant. I had 3 grandchildren taken from DHS. 2 of them began me trying to save. 2 that gave me a phone call, and this was in 2018. My grandson that was 10 and a 5-year-old. My granddaughter was raped by her mother's boyfriend and couldn't hold her bowel movement. My grandson was molested also. During that time, as I was speaking out, I went and got help for the kids and everything. The DHS worker, which later I found out was the aunt. Well, she said she was the aunt, Stacy Moultrie. She was the one that jumped on the case, took everything from the sexual unit and told them that she had it. She changed and falsified reports, said everything was a lie, which was the kids had already told everything that happened. The hospital, social workers, and everything had looked into everything. But she changed everything. I mean, she changed the paperwork. The judge had said the next day that the kids can come with me, and she stopped that from happening. I didn't know what was going on and everything, and I kept looking into everything. Come to find out, this was the perpetrator's aunt. It went from there that she started.
Wait. Are you intimating that the social worker, the caseworker, was the perpetrator's aunt?
Supervisor, yes, was the perpetrator's
supervisor was
aunt.
the perpetrator's aunt. So
Yes,
you are alleging that she falsified reports. So the person who was raping the children is the supervisor in the DHS system. That was her nephew. So you're
yes,
alleging that she falsified the reports to make sure that her nephew was okay.
Yes, and she said it. She said family over she said blood over everything. Put her fingers up in the courtroom. She did all this sassy things. Was like threatening me, telling me if I keep it up, she was going to remove all the children from my household. So I kept speaking up, kept going to everything, went to the FBI, did everything possible. And the DHS worker Stacy Moultrie, she went down there and she came to my house in December and removed my grandbaby that I had since birth. Nothing was going on. My house was beautifully fine. Food in the house, everything was fine. Now, mind you, I've been the glue in my family. I've been doing things for a minute for everything. And I had this baby since birth that they asked me to get. I had paperwork showing that I went down there and like stated paperwork, and it was fine that I kept her. They said that's all that I needed. So they went there. They told me that it was a court date for the kids, which it wasn't no court date. That was to get me to remove from the house. I get down there to court, and while I'm sitting there, it was just a strange feeling. And my son said, "Mom, hurry up and get home. It's all of these cops and DHS workers here to remove Heaven." I get to the house and I'm trying to stop everything to get in the house because on the phone they said, "Oh, all you got to do is show paperwork," the cop said. No, that was not true. They never let me in the door to get paperwork to show that Heaven was there. I have on video that the supervisor said, you don't know where the mother at. Just like this. This is why she say she being taken. Um, the child is not being cared for. They switched her last name, so you cannot show shot records of proof of the child. They changed her whole identity. I had everything. I was not let in the courtroom. They had sheriffs in front of the door. So it was like I didn't exist. They brought my daughter there, which had mental health problems. This is the second daughter, not the daughter of the two kids that was taken, and brought her there and made her seem like she was the one taking care heavily and she was unstable, which is not true because I had Heaven. So I was supposed to have been in the one in the courtroom. I never got a chance to speak with that. And that was the Judge Fernandez courtroom. When it gets to Judge Gray courtroom, I ran inside his courtroom, told them, "Hey, my name is Yolanda Bryant." This was at the months of me not being able to get inside his courtroom, and was explaining to him my two grandkids was raped. That guy right there, please don't send the kids home with them, because they was going to send the kids home back to him. He had everything set up for the kids to go back to him, with the aunt standing there saying that everything was okay.
The aunt who
We
was
all
the aunt who was the supervisor in
The
DHS.
aunt that claimed that she was, yes, Stacy Moultrie. And later, it's just been so much. Later, my grandchild, the 10-year-old, was given hormonal medication. She told me, "You would never find this child. You would never find these kids." Well, my grandson is now a transgender. She changed them. They was given sex hormone, the medication inside there. Um, so now my grandchild that was in there was saying that was being sent from different group homes, was being beat, was put in a friend's hospital crisis from trying to tell the truth because they was trying to make them lie. And my grandchild kept trying to speak out and say, my mom was the one that saved us." I had pictures at the hospital. I had the reports of the hospital workers saying that they would speak up. The supervisor was like, "Yes, the kids seem fine with you, and the kids told us too what happened, and we don't know why the kids is not back with you." The previous judge said the same thing. "We have no idea why the kids is not back with you." Now, let me explain something to you about Kimberly Ali. We have people that elected officials that sits in these seats that do not belong there. Kimberly Ali herself went through domestic violence. Her husband, and this is in the newspaper, her husband killed his girlfriend, which was a DHS supervisor that started working for the court, in front of the daughter sitting in the car. Kimberly Ali said was just all she was trying to do was save her marriage at the time. She still was allowed to keep her child. She got promoted. She did, and this was in within the time range of everything of this happening, they promoted her up in DHS. But if a parent go through domestic violence, they take the children away from them. They goes into the home, which by far DHS connected with domestic violence. They connected with Congressa, every nonprofit or agency that can help families out. They connected. They connected to our school. You know why? Because it's all about money. Everything's been about money. And the whole time that they doing this, the more children that they get, the more money they get from the state. And my grandkids was caught up in this situation. Is a big mess. I've been fighting, and I was fighting until I got sick. I was in a passenger in a car accident. My spine was broken, so I was out for a while. Thank God I made it. I never gave up the fight. And as soon as I got a chance to get back, I said I was going to get back. My husband, he was helping fighting the whole way with me. And then he got sick and he just died from the cancer in November. And it's been a long journey for me, Andreen. When I tell you that this fight has been, I have my grandchild with me. My grandchild was in the streets. DHS just had him in the streets as a runaway. Was being raped and abused in these foster homes. Had nowhere to go. Was going back to the house that I was at looking for me. It's sad. And I want a change. We need a change in these attorneys. They need to, if they're going to get paid, then they need to go back to give the money to the parents and let them choose whatever attorney that they want for once. That's what they need to do. The judges, these judges that we have, they need to be accountable. The sex crime unit that we have, they need to stop letting these DHS workers play as they are the cops, as they are the sex crime. I mean, they do everything. These DHS workers can change whatever they want. And this is why we have so much trafficking going on, because they can change the social security number's name. They did it to my third grandchild. They changed her last name and made it seem as she don't exist in the system, gave her to someone and adopted her off without the parents' permission, without anything. I mean, it's just sad. And now I'm just in the beginning of a healing of my body. I wasn't able to walk. I wasn't able to do anything. And thank you, God, He healed me enough to bring me back to this fight. And I'm back and I'm ready. My husband is not here no more. And through His spirit, I told him, honey, I will do whatever's possible to make sure that not just our grandchildren, that other children, that other families that's in this fight will be able to win, to get their children back, because some laws have to change. And if we don't stand up now and people don't get together, I mean, this is the thing that's happened across the world, because these supervisors know there's money into trafficking children. It's a lot that's happening.
And therein lies the rub. That's the part that continues to come back in my mind, that it's an easier way to traffic children. Right?
Yes.
I don't know, y'all. Yolanda, you said a lot. And I'm so sorry to hear about all that has been transpiring in your life. You continue to fight. Remember Rosa Parks. Remember all the freedom fighters that nobody paid attention to until everything came to a head. You will be remembered for what you have done to help so many people, including your own families.
Yeah.
I have had media people say they're not touching this. They're not touching it. It goes deep and far and wide. So Alexandra says, what do you need from us in the community to do? First of all, knowledge is key. No, when you see these things and you hear these stories, don't just believe them sight unseen. Right? You heard these stories of reports being falsified. One of the things that I think can happen at the crime scene unit, the crime scene spaces in the police department, is instead of giving it to the social worker, they send it straight to the court system. Bypass the social worker so that those records can't be falsified. That's one thing that can happen. Do we have the community willpower to do it? I don't know. I really don't know. Dr. Harris, are you? Thank you so much, Yolanda. We're going to come back to this. Are you in a more
Okay.
stable place now?
Let me just test to see if y'all can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just want to jump onto that point about what they need to know is that anybody can be subjected to a safety complaint where their children could be removed. I'm someone who has always been available to support in regards to resources, worked multiple six-figure jobs, had owned my home, owned cars, no debt, and they still came in, never did drugs or anything like that. They took my daughter off of a caseworker who said she didn't see a car seat in the home. Now, I had receipts, I had pictures, I had videos of the caseworkers. None of that mattered. They still came in and took her, and I was not able to get the evidence that she did have a car seat based on the caseworker testimony until after the case closed, and they blocked me for multiple years from getting those transcripts. So I want people to know that anybody, if you have a child under 18, you could be subjected to a safety complaint and you could be wrapped up into this nightmare. What we need to do is everyone stand up. I'm someone who has filed multiple lawsuits. I have filed criminal complaints. I have one currently pending in regards to DHS allegedly forging a judge signature. I had two documents where it was a custody order issue, one with the judge signature and one with a fabricated signature. I just submitted it to the district attorney office for review, and we're just waiting to see. The person who submitted it is no longer working with the city of Philadelphia anymore. And it's interesting because every time we find someone doing something wrong, they either are quietly fired, they are allowed to retire, or they move to a different department. But I think as families, we need to stand united. I was someone who was just asked to adopt a child, and I said yes. And I began a 10-year nightmare that is still ongoing. My daughter is 10. She shows up to the court hearings, and she's looking like, what's going on? And the only thing that's stopping us is DHS continues to show up, even though they have no standing, they have no rights to be there, and they continue to show up. And the one way we're standing up against them is filing lawsuits, filing complaints, and knowing that we have rights as a family and we don't need them to intervene. So when possible, you need to come together as a family and make sure y'all apply for custody and intervene. We just found out my daughter was 2 weeks from being adopted out to strangers, despite having 8 living grandparents, great and great great grandparents living. She was 2 weeks to being adopted out to strangers. So they were bypassing all laws, all procedures to do the wrong will, to hurt me, to traumatize me. And they did traumatize me. I'm still struggling with it because deep down in my heart, I know that they kidnapped my child and there was nothing I could do about it. I wanted to crash out, but as a Christian woman, there was nothing I can do. So even someone who comes from a Christian background, who has a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctorate, six-figure income, own homes, vacation homes, they were still able to walk inside my house without a court order and take my child. And I had to endure, and I'm still enduring, 10 years of fight.
I, 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 I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I need to ask this question. Why do you think children, when they're in the system, despite having family members willing to take them, are being farmed out to other places where you can't find them, etc.? Why do you think? Dr. Harris, I'm going to ask you first, then Yolanda, then Bridget, then April. Why do you think?
It's the money. Obviously, when we have a family initiated adoption where the biological parents voluntarily terminated rights and signed off for me to adopt, that would have ended DHS involvement. And instead, they took us through a nightmare of many years, and they put a child into a system she was never meant to be a part of, due to money and due to oversight with KUA. And they actually made me do trainings, foster care trainings and adoption trainings twice, where I had to take off from my six-figure jobs, even leaving two six-figure jobs, because they made the schedule so difficult for me. They said, well, how can you take care of a child if you have to work? I said, well, I'll leave those six-figure jobs. I can live off my savings. So I left them, and they still took me through it. So I'm telling families, like, it does not matter what your background is. You have to be vigilant, record them. That's something that I'm proud of. I have so many recordings. I have so much documentation. I'm just praying that we get in front of a jury where we also can pursue the criminal charges. So to Yolanda's point, I stood before the Superior Court of PA on December 9th, 2025, and I asked them to do a forensic investigation of record tampering with Philadelphia Family Court. So that is still pending. So we have to apply pressure like that.
Yeah. So you're going the legal route and using the resources that you have, which will probably help a lot more families. Yolanda, what do you think? Why do you think this is happening? Why do you think when family members show up, thank you, Dr. Harris, when family members show up to take the children out of the system, that they continue to keep them and fight the families? Why do you think that's happening?
I totally agree with Dr. Harris. A lot of these, that's why they had cash for kids also. The judges was doing and
That.
getting court up for cash for kids. So this is totally about the money. It's like I said, it's been about the money. When
But
speaking on
why
the
are
super,
our children so expendable? I have to ask the question because the
be-
majority of the children that are found that caught up in the system, like the Nasia and April's 8-year-old daughter, they look like us. Why is it okay for our children to be so expendable and to
because our
disappear?
money is not long enough to fight. That's what they feel like. If you don't have enough money to fight back in court, because they keep you in court, you need attorneys. Their attorneys, it's all a setup. Everything is with them, is their DHS worker, their court worker, their attorneys, their child advocate. Everything is court up. Is no one really speaking. We need people that's outside the court that stand up for us, that's not a part of DHS, that's going to actually fight. And if we had someone that's outside, individuals that we could bring on, our own child advocates that can speak up, any companies that can help, any attorneys, like I was saying, if they want to say, oh, a free attorney, well, then let it be a state cited part where the money can go straight to any attorney that you choose to bring in to use for court for you. But they don't want that. They keeping it in a circle so the finances can still go back to them. And the children, they keep them stretched out long. They don't want them to go to their families because it'll be united. And Black families are targeted. Browns and Black are the most targeted families. And I want you to know, because guess what? We don't stick together. We have to stick together. Most of the time, we have much. When you look at calls, the calls, it's frightful calls from people, all the neighbors. It's the hateful ex-girlfriends. It's the people that's calling in. We don't really have that going on in other minorities like that. But it's our own Black and brown that will do this to ourselves. And they know that we can't fight, even targeted. I heard in the newspaper before, and I can pull this out and show it to your show later on. Cynthia Figueroa said one day she was riding down the street, and she said she saw a child running, like a child running around outside. So she already looked at this child and said she wondered how many kids, this was in North Philadelphia, how many kids is out there that's like that she saw. And she said that she went back to work. She was working for domestic violence at the time. She wasn't working with DHS yet. And she went and told, she wanted to make, a mandated call to say something. But her supervisor told her no, that she didn't think that it was right. And she did it anyway. And this is on our very own. So if you looking up and down the street at how many Black and brown kids that you feel like are being abused, you are making a choice on your own. Just how can you just look at a child and say they're being abused because they don't have the shoes on of another child may have on, the coat on of another child, name brand that they have? Different people go through situations. We should help the people that's going through poverty. There should be more agency that helps them. The same way they could give foster care parents different money and stuff to help, they can give it to the parents to help them to be able
Keep their
to get
children in those
themselves
spaces,
together.
yeah. As long as the
But
child is not being abused physically or
yes,
yeah, yeah.
but it's sad because it's happening every day and it's all around the world. It's just not in Philadelphia. It's
Thank
all
you.
around the world.
Thank you for saying that, Yolanda. There's a lot of expendable families all around the world. And this is just a microcosm of what's going on, but we need to care about the families that are here and how do we
Yes.
navigate through that. Denisha, what do you think? Why do you think this is happening? Why do you think you were in the system from 7, 8 to where you are now, being locked up, your child being born in the toilet, yeah, that you're being charged with crimes that you were found innocent of, that you're alleging, all of these things that happened to you, and now at 22 you're still in this fight. Why do you think all of this is happening?
I feel like I'm a subject to my parents. When my parents went through the system, my grandmother went through the system. So being as though that they've been through the system, they subject me. They already had an idea about me as well.
Hmm.
So that itself was already an issue. And then my mom couldn't take care of me. Then I went through the system, and being as though I went through the system, I turned to criminal activity because I had to survive. I mean, I needed to eat every day. Like I said, I was going, even though I was running away from my foster homes and group homes and everything, I still went to school. I still tried to, make something better of myself. But they found me every time at school, and they still put me back in these situations that I already complained about, that I already told y'all about, that I already felt some type of way about. So, being as though that happened, I stopped going to school.
Yeah. Denisha, I have a thought about something, but I will not say it here on the air. So let's just, but thank you so, so much. Thank you for sharing your story with the Philadelphia Inquirer. Thank you for coming here to have the conversation with us. And I applaud your generosity of words and spirit, because you've been so traumatized for so long. I know it wasn't an easy thing for you to come here and have this dialogue with us. I hope you felt comfortable in having the conversation, because there are people here now trying to figure out what they can do to help. So thank you, my sister. Bridget,
Yes,
why do you
thank you.
think this is happening?
Andrea, is definitely the money. And I'm going to say that because the person who has my niece and adopted her did it all for money. If they didn't give her any money, I have my niece right now, Andrea. And the sad thing is that these workers tell these people. I still remember them telling my nephew, "Oh, your aunt gets an extra $300 a month for you." But what they failed to say to him is, we give teens an extra $300 a month because y'all go to prom, you go to senior events, your shoes cost more. But you know what, Andrea? I didn't need that $300 a month because I'm a school nurse. I've been working for 30 years. So I gave him that allowance. But that allowance was like his death sentence because it got him in trouble. He went to the poppy store with that money, kept going to school late. So I withheld it, and they
Mm-hmm.
removed him out of my house. And
Mm-hmm.
ever since then, he was chasing money. Unfortunately, Andrea, he's murdered now
What?
because he kept chasing money.
Okay. Okay. I don't think I need a therapist on here whenever I have this conversation, because it's so traumatizing. And I need to put a trigger warning in the front of this so that when it airs, people will be able to, because it's a lot. It's been a lot. Thank you so much, Bridget. I really appreciate your sharing. Now I know you, Yolanda, and April are all working together. I see you online all the time, pushing for change, pushing for a better system for other people. I'm praying now that folks are listening to this and saying, okay, how do we do this? I am so sorry to hear about your nephew. I really, really am, right? And you're trying to do something good for him. It ended up being traumatizing because he was getting the money. The money seemed easy, right? And so when the money was taken, it's a lot. This is so, there's so many layers to this that I can't even go there. April, tell me why you think this is happening.
So I feel that this is happening. It's been happening since slavery. Children have been taken, human grown adults have been taken since slavery. And this is definitely a federal issue, not just state or local, because just think about it. The system itself, pipeline of prison, from the hospital, from these schools, the prison system has to continue business. The judges have to continue to have people to convict. The caseworkers have to continue to have business. We are all businesses. So if you continue, the way to keep the business running is to continue to make the business happen. So if you don't have business, you don't have money. So we all are a business. Our
So we're the
children have become
commodity
a
for this business.
business.
What you're saying is that we're the commodity for this business to keep everything running. Is that what you're saying to us?
Exactly. So they will take a child that's not harmed, eating every day, love beyond measure, and put them somewhere to become broken, become a broken adult, because they feel that, oh, this child will possibly find their way into our prison system that will keep our money flowing, keep our system working as it should. The system was built not for us, but to do us in. It's built on top of us.
You know what? Hold on one second, April. So Marguerite says we need a therapist on here with us, one of our state representatives, and someone with a legal platform. My goodness. Let me tell you one of the things that I have been running into when I go and I start to ask these questions. Well, their background is not clean. I don't, and these are Black people talking to me. Their backgrounds are not clean. They don't have a stellar reputation. So I don't want to put my neck out. We've been so conditioned into the system that we don't even see we're a part of our own demise. We don't. If I'm thrown into the system at 6 and 7 and I commit crime so that I can eat and feed and clothe and shelter myself at the age of 14, what clean background are you looking for? Make me understand that, right? So even our own people, and I'm saying it with every fiber of my being. I don't want to touch this because I have my own reputation to protect. Part of the reason why we're in demise now as a people is that we're so singularly focused. Everything is I. No one says, let me figure out how I can put myself to the side and try to help as many people as I possibly can. We're looking to be in the pictures of what we consider to be elevated leaders. We don't do what's right on behalf of the people we're supposed to serve. And then we get affronted when people call it out and say, this isn't right. This isn't right. This isn't right. But I've seen it over and over and over again. I want to keep, if I do this, Andrea, then I won't get invited to the events. If I do this, Andrea, then I won't get appointed. If I do this, Andrea, then I won't get this job that I'm looking forward to doing. And that's what's been holding us as a people back. White people, close your ears. That's what's been holding us as a people back for generations. And that's why we continue to have this diggity dang conversation over and over and over again. So my solution to all of you is this: before your child, if you see a family member that's is unstable and issues are happening, don't even involve. Just go ahead and say, all right, let me take the child. Let's go on into court and figure out how we can hold on to this child without involving the department. I don't know if you can do that without involving the Department of Human Services. I don't know.
You
But
could. You
you
could.
can. Okay.
Yeah.
So here is the solution. Don't allow your families to fall into the wayside. A friend I was talking to yesterday, she said she drove up to Georgia to go get her grandchildren because one of her children, and the DHS worker was like, we need to see this. She said, I make $300,000 a year, man. I don't need nothing from you, which shocked the hell out of them. So she was able to get her grandchildren and bring them back. You understand what there's this look, they look at us as if, right, get guardianship or custody ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but we live amongst people and we get into these rooms with them and we hug them up and we talk. Those same people that are supposed to protect us, are supposed to cover the laws, are the ones that are burying us in closed rooms. Okay, all right. If I have to do this so I can stay in office, if I have to do this, and I'm not saying everybody's doing it, so don't come for me. Please don't. But if I cannot, we have got to be better about all of this. These heartbreaking stories is just a microcosm of what's been going on every single where. We're so caught up. There's Dr. Harris, who should have never been, because, clean history. But oh my God, she had the temerity. Here was a fresh new baby. Somebody wanted this fresh new baby. Right? And we don't want to have the conversation. Bridget said, I'm a mandated reporter by profession, so I thought DHS was good. It's a lot. It's the reason why I'm tortured every night. These stories, I can't sleep. The country is falling apart. We're losing everything. In the next 2 years, we are going to find ourselves in a world of hurt. Right? Our banking system is falling. Everything is falling around us. But we're so caught up in, I'm going to take care of me. I want to make X amount of dollars. I want to have this square footage of house. I want to make sure I own this car. And damn everybody else around you. I grew up in a culture that says we take care of each other. Do you know how many people my sisters and family have raised without being in a system because of this kind of BS? You take them in, you feed them, you clothe them. You don't have to officially adopt them. Just take them in and say, I got this, right? And through law, through the parents say, all right, this is what we need, their social security number with it. This is what when they're going off to school, what do we need to do to make sure that they're okay? Because if the system is filled with people that is designed to destroy your lives, then what are you going to do? If we're looking for answers within a system that is so corrupted that we know is not going to give us, well, what else can we do without getting them into the system? And so while you guys are here and you're sharing your very vulnerable and heartbreaking stories, this show is a lesson for anybody who is watching right now that knows you have a family member that's unstable. Get yourselves outside of yourselves, take in the child, figure it out. Because what is a direct result that what comes out of this is traumatized people who are heartbroken, who find themselves being locked up, going through all these other things. We've got to be better. Because if we're depending on the very people that look just like us, that are in the highest places in government, that are doing absolutely nothing to help us, then what are we doing? And so Yolanda, April, Bridget, Dr. Tamara, all of you, Dr. Tamara, I'm sorry, I'm just in a hot space right now. All of you, take your collective voices. Do not stop. Whatever the cost is, you are here, you're there, you're in it. Do not stop.
Yeah.
Because what folks are going to start to find out is all this stuff we're living in a tenuous, we're walking on cotton balls now and don't even realize it. And when stuff starts to fall apart, the first group of people that feels it, Black women being laid off. The health insurance, the healthcare system is in rubbles. All the things that are going on, we keep going, well, it's not me. I'm just going to do me. Listen, y'all. If you don't find your tribe, these women have found each other in a tribe and are trying to figure out how to navigate through all of this. And if we have common sense, we will start to stand behind them and try and figure out how we can support them, because therefore, by the grace of God. Do you know how many people get caught up in this system that says absolutely nothing? Lenora says, as a medical foster parent, I have tons of stories because of how DHS is run. It is difficult to get justice. Which is why we say a major solution is work as families to not ever let your children get caught up in the system, ever.
Can I add, Andrea, just the collective resources like Denasia. I've been a Black career coach for over 20 years, so I'm definitely willing to sit with you and help you with your job and just understanding your purpose. I'm also a life coach. Pulling those type of resources together and also sharing our knowledge collectively. I've been involved in the system. I should never have been if I would have knew my rights. I did not know my rights. My family did not know our rights, and we were court-appointed attorneys who were working together with DHS, and they had conflicts of interest. We were only able to figure that out just recently. So I think for us as a collective, we have to stand together. I've been an advocate since 2017, helping families. I met Bridget, I met Yolanda, I met April,
And I'm going to continue to be here. Even with me having my daughter, I'm going to continue to fight and stand. And I'm always available in regards to my resources from Black Career Coach. I'm happy to share it with the platform, with Denasia. I want to help you. I want to talk to you, and I'm here for you.
Yeah. Thank you, my sister. Really, truly appreciate it. I knew Yolanda, Bridget, April, Dr. Harris, Denasia, and tell me your daughter's name again, April.
India, she's in
India.
school now.
She's in school now. I figured as
Yeah.
much.
Mhm.
How can we on this platform help you in any way? I know I help you by giving voice to what you're going through, but how else can we help you?
Outside of the voicing for us as a collective, I feel like we need to fight. And thank you, Dr. Harris. I will talk to you outside of here, and hopefully we can connect and you can help me. But back on that, but I feel like yes, we need to come as a collective. We're not loud enough for us to get their attention. Yes, us as families, we how can I say yes, us as families, we tell them, but we are not voicing, and we can't voice because we don't have enough money. Yes, I heard about the. I'm sorry, I forgot who it was.
It's
I
fine,
think it
sweetie.
was. I think it was Miss April or something
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that had a 6 figure, whatever. Yes, I don't like is. Yes, she was targeting everything, but us as minorities, we're black, we're brown, where we don't have enough voice in this system. Outside of us, outside of our black and brown directors and social workers and all that stuff, they don't care because at the end of the day, they still listening to the white man that don't know nothing about living in Philadelphia or living in North Philly or living in the hood, how anything could traumatize us. We could
Mm-hmm.
walk down the street and something traumatize us. And us as black and minority, we supposed to just suck it up. It's supposed to be our trauma. No, we need to talk about that. We need to tell people how we feel, how
Mm-hmm.
that traumatized us,
Mm-hmm.
how that affected us later in life. Damn, I don't want to see that. So to this
Yeah.
day, I'm traumatized by blood. To this day, I hate seeing blood. Even on my period, I'd be like, no, I don't like seeing that
Wow.
because
You
I'm
are
traumatized
so
being in
so
the
the so
Philadelphia area.
Denisha, you need a lot of help. You do. You need a lot of help. So Tracy is asking, what are your immediate needs that they can help you with right now? Anything immediate needs that you have that they can help you right now?
Yeah. I just want to add, recently I experienced the courts faking my attendance in court. I experienced, I have a transcript where court appointed attorneys were colluding with the judge allegedly to, violate my rights. I also have transcripts, orders where they were manipulated. So the way that I believe people can help right now, because I have evidence of record tampering in Philadelphia Family Court, is to support with notifying. I already filed a criminal complaint with Larry Krasner office. I have information that I would post in regards to email to this particular person to raise concern. I share publicly the orders that were fabricated. I share publicly the transcript where my attendance was faked on October 30th, 2024. I think where we can help is pressuring the DA office to consider investigating record tampering and conspiracy with court-appointed attorneys and a judge to violate families' rights. So I want to
Okay.
post that information. They can go to my public page, Dr. Tamira Harris, facebook.com/Tamira S. Harris, TAMIERS.
Can you see the chat and post it there?
Yes, yes, and I think if you look at what I have there, it's very significant. I think it can help a lot of families if we can
Okay.
identify issues of record tampering, of court-appointed attorneys colluding or allegedly with DHS. If we can find that and get a finding there, it'll help a lot of families' cases. So I want to share the information, share the
Can
email.
I?
Hold on one second,
Sorry.
Denisha. Hold on one second, Denisha. What's the email address, Dr. Harris? Can you hear me?
So for
Hold on.
right now, my email address, and I'll share it to them, is info@blackcareercoach.org. And the reason is because I'm not sure if this detective's information, his email can be shared publicly.
It
But if
cannot.
they email me, I can share with them directly the email. But it's
Okay.
info@blackcareercoach.org.
Okay. Okay. I just put it on my page, so it
Thank
should
you.
go up. Go ahead, Denisha. Thank you.
Sorry. Also, one person that actually helped me a lot in the office, her name is Michelle Mason. She works for the district attorney. She take a lot of cases pro bono.
Mhm.
She's a very nice lady. She works for the DHS system. And also I know a lady, her name is Tachina.
Mhm.
And she also works for the DHS system. That's very helpful. And she fight for the black and browns as well. She's been trying to um get us heard as well. Like she helped me with everything.
Okay.
My kids, my cases, everything. So
Thank you,
sorry.
Denisha. A question: Is there? Do you have any immediate needs that they can help you with right now? I'm talking about the people in the platform here. Is there any immediate needs that you have that people can help you that you need right now?
Um I don't want to ask for anything, but I'm a struggling 22-year-old. I'm
Got it.
waiting for school
All
in
right.
February. I'm actually trying to go to storm weather and landscaping business. So let's see how that go in February. But right now,
So what I'm gonna do, Denasia, is ask my producer to get your contact information, and I will share it quietly with anyone who asks. We're not doing this on this public platform. I refuse. Right? But
right? Yes.
whatever your needs are, if we're going to help people in Jamaica for hurricane, we can help people right here in Philadelphia that needs something, needs things to happen. Right? It's 8 o'clock. I thank you all. We could go on for hours and hours and hours. Please send all your contact information to my producer, which I believe they already have, so we can reach out to you in the near future for some other things that we're talking about. Thank you all so much. Yolanda, Denasia, April, Dr. Tamira Harris, and Bridget Powell. Thank you all so much. And Jenny, who needs a family court lawyer because she's in Delaware County. Thank you all so much for joining us in this most needed conversation today. It's worn me out, so I can only imagine those of you who are actually in it, how you must feel. I am grateful to all of you for this dialogue that we've had this morning. Stay tuned for what else we have going on. And for those of you, for the person who reminded me that Dr. Ali was in a really big, she was all over the front page of the news, right? About a domestic violence issue. Thank you for reminding me about that. So I can go back and research that a little bit more. I am thankful to those of you who have been on the air with me, listening and taking charge of these stories, that you don't just go back to your lives and pretend like everything is okay. Open your eyes, open your ears. If you see something, say something, and support families. This episode of Mornings with Mom is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.